Hey hoes, I come in peace. Welcome to this episode of Hoe Rogan. We're going to talk about DMT, aliens, mushrooms, maybe a little jujitsu. Actually, we're not going to talk about those things. But you know what me and Joe Rogan do have in common is an obsession with Zachariah Stitchin and the Anunnaki. And if I ever saw him, that is what I would like to spend the time talking about. But for those of you who don't know, I used to be obsessed with ancient aliens. And my disclaimer is I am no longer obsessed. And I'm not even that into it at the expense of being racist. Like I don't want to say that those people didn't build those temples all around the world. And there are pyramids all around the world. But what I did love about the ancient alien theory is that for me, it made me kind of forgive all the religions because I thought, oh, something happened to us hundreds of thousands of years ago. Like aliens came here, got down with a Sasquatch or cave lady or beautiful people. So I don't know. It's just like, okay, here's my thing is, unfortunately, if I was at an alien casino, I probably would put my money on that there has been some intervention with humans, some alien intervention. Because it just seems, some of the stuff seems fishy. But I don't want to be racist. I don't want to say that people didn't build their structures. But then also, I don't want to not believe people when people say, oh, the gods came from the skies. These people came from the skies and they came here and they taught us stuff. So I am just going to say I don't know anything as always. But I love the story Zachariah Stitchinson gleaned from the texts in the 70s. And I really feel like this must have really affected sci-fi because you see hints of it everywhere. But so I'm just going to go off the top of my head and talk about the Anunnaki and see if I can talk a lot about the Anunnaki because I might be able to. I used to talk about it for hours and hours and hours all the time. And then I stopped because, I don't know, I just was over it, I guess. And, but it's still, I have to say, a really big part of me. I still might put my money on it. And I have to say, ancient aliens made me interested in history. So I love debunking videos. I love videos that debunk ancient aliens because they'll be like, in ancient aliens, they're not really big at fact checking, but it's cool because they'll show stuff that you're like, what the is that? And then but if someone debunks it, then that's awesome too, because then you're like, oh my God, I just learned about something that I would have never learned about, honestly. And so because I got so into ancient aliens, I feel that I might be kind of an expert on ancient Mesopotamia. And I really would like to go to the Smithsonian and learn how to read cuneiform and hang out with Mr. Finkel, who runs the ancient Sumerian section at the British Museum. I digress. Anyways, hey, subscribe, come to Patreon. But here we go. This is what I gleaned, and this is how I see the history went down as far as Zachariah Stitchinson. So there was this planet X, and it's far away, and it's called Nerebu. I think. I might get this confused with some sci-fi. Anyways, let's Planet X, and there's these aliens on it, and their environment is becoming super bad. And there's a war between the king and the prince, and something happens, and they need a couple things. Their environment's becoming so bad, but if they had enough gold to suspend in the air, they could protect their environment. And then when the prince gets banished, he's just cruising around. And he I think this has been debunked, but in the ancient Sumerian texts, he cruises in and the asteroid belt, and he goes by the planets, and in some of their clay drawings, you'll see like planets, and us ancient alien people are like, how'd they know about the planets? How'd they know that thing was blue-green? They called Neptune blue-green or something like that. And so he crashes, he sees Earth. He's out and he sees Earth and he crashes here. And he sees like the salt water and the fresh water. And he sees a serpent in the garden. But then, and he's like, yay, I think I found the solution for my people. So he goes back to his planet and he's like, I found the gold that we need to suspend in the air. So they come here, and this is where it's kind of like the best movie ever made, Battlefield Galactica. And that was John Travolta's like dream movie that nobody would make because, I don't know, it's probably kind of Scientology. Anyways, so then, okay, so the aliens come and they want to mine gold. But then the aliens get like, why do we got to mine gold? Because there's not very many of us. Why don't we like mess with these like primate things? There's all sorts of different hominoids. It's like Lord of the Rings. There's tiny people, giant people. Let's do some genetic modification and see what we can get. And they develop these beautiful beings called people. No. And so they so then, and there's on Mars, there's they go to Mars because I don't know, it's easier to jump from Mars. So there's a manufacturing plant on Mars. And so the fallen angels end up being those soldiers from Mars that come down and they steal a bunch of women. And so not only were we genetically modified, but then at some point they realize they can breed with us. And so they start taking, women as their wives. And then that's where you get like Gilgamesh, like a halfling. Like, so his mom was mortal, but his father was an Anunnaki. So they come down, they're mining, then they start making the people mine, and that's why there's miners everywhere. And that's why if you give a little boy a box of sand, he'll dig and dig and dig. Like, you can give a boy a box of sand, hide gold in it, he'll sit there all day. Digging for the gold. But